Hey, family, Pastor Willingham here. Hey, being a pastor is one of the most scrutinized professions that there is in the world. I mean, we judge the pastor on just about everything, how they speak, how they preach, how they look, what they wear, their family, their leadership. I mean, and it comes with the territory. So anybody who's a pastor accepts, that you're under a microscope, and people are looking at every single thing that you do. And again, it's fine because that comes with the territory. But often there's another side um, to the pastor that we're not always aware of what the pastor's thinking and how the pastor's processing things. And I think I want to give you a little bit of insight into the mind and into the perspective of the pastor as they're dealing with people. I call them the seven C's, the seven C's that pastors are using when they're dealing with people. And while you're judging your pastor, or while you're evaluating your pastor, here's likely how the pastor is evaluating people around them, without saying anything, without again criticizing anyone, and trying to encourage people along the way. But here are the seven C's that many pastors are dealing with as they're dealing with people. Number one is competence. When pastors are dealing with people, the first question that comes to mind is the person capable of doing what they say they can? Because you'll meet a lot of people as a pastor who will promise you that they'll do things, or they'll promise you that they have a particular type of resource or a particular type of experience or ability that they're going to contribute to the ministry. And many times, pastors are let down by people who just either don't do what they say they can or not really capable of doing what they say they can do. And so that's the first thing that pastors are looking at is, without judging, again, without being critical, is can a person do what they say they can do? The second thing is pastors are looking for commitment. You know, pastors are looking at how consistent people are, and not necessarily their talent, not necessarily the size of their gifting, because a lot can be done, a lot can be accomplished if we're consistent. We can be effective. If we're consistent, we can grow. We don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be the most talented person in the world. But pastors are looking at the commitment. I'd rather have a committed people, or a committed person, who doesn't have to be the most talented person, than have a talented person who's not committed. And so, the second thing the pastor's looking at is commitment. The third thing pastors are usually looking at is how confident people are. Do they really believe in what they say they can do? What's their attitude about what they're doing? If they're doing it, are they relatively confident in what they're doing? Are they at ease with what they're doing? Again, they don't have to be the most talented, the most gifted, but are they confident at it? The fourth thing that pastors are usually looking at is character. The fourth C is character. What type of person are you dealing with? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses of character? Doesn't matter if they had some bad history. Doesn't matter what they've been through in their past. But you are looking at what type of person that you're dealing with, because it's going to determine what type of productivity you can get from a person, depending upon their character. The fifth thing that pastors are usually looking at is cognizance. How do people think? How do they reason things? How do they process things? And so generally you try to spend some time with people to get a feel for how they think, because how they think is going to drive what they do, their perception of things. How they see things is very important. And this is one of the greatest challenges that pastors have is dealing with the thought processes of people, because their actions, their behavior will come out of something that they're thinking. It'll come out of some way that they're thinking, some way that they're seeing things. The sixth thing is communication. Pastors are looking at how people communicate. What's their communication style, whether it be verbal, whether it be through body language, whether it be through their actions. Is it healthy? Do they communicate in a healthy way? How do people communicate? How do they respond to you? You know, when you give them information, you give them encouragement. So you're trying to build a relationship through a communication style and a communication pattern. And the seventh thing that pastors are looking at is conviction. Do people stand for something? Whatever it is they say they do, what do they stand for? Because this is going to determine what drives them, what motivates them to do it. And so these are things, again, 7 C's that your pastor may be looking at while you're looking at the pastor. The pastor's looking at people's competence. The pastor's looking at people's commitment. The pastor's looking at people's confidence. The pastor's looking at people's character. The pastor's looking at people's cognizance. The pastor's looking at people's communication. The pastor's looking at people's conviction. And so, hey, if you have a good pastor, work with your pastor and understand while you have your pastor under the microscope, there is something going on behind the eyes and the mind of your pastor. And it's important to know this. And so, hey, God bless you. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.